I figured this was something important enough to videotape because I know I've been messing with it for days, and it's taken me quite a bit of going online and reading manuals, seeing other people's videos to finally figure out what I was doing wrong. So this is a Craftsman Weed-wacker. This is a 30cc. It has both the ability to do a bump feed as well as a fixed line. I've been using the fixed line since I got it because I couldn't figure out how to do the bump feed, but I finally figured this out, so here's the video. So first off, you don't need to take your spool apart to do this, but if you're like me and you've taken it apart, you might want to know how to put it back together. We used a cutting blade attachment that we bought, a universal one, and when I tried to put it back together here, I put it back incorrectly and my bump hasn't been working. So from what I can tell, this is the order of operations. You've got this outer part of the spool, the housing. You've got this metal washer and spring. The tabs of the metal washer are going to face the direction of the spring. They hold the spring centered so that once the pressure is applied, it kind of stays right in the middle here. Your spool will have a B side, bottom side, T side, top side. Obviously the top side is going to go into this housing so that the bottom is what's facing out, because once we flip this Weed-wacker over, that's what we want on the bottom. So this spring, and this is what I did wrong, I had the spring on the wrong side here. This spring pushes your spool in and out, and this is what actually actuates your bump. Before we go ahead and do that, I want to show you guys the inside of the spool. So as you see, there's the two eyes. So this is where the trimmer line comes in. Now if you're using the fixed version, I'll try to do this. If you're using the fixed version here, the line comes in, out, it loops around, goes back out. If you're going to use the bump, you want to basically shove a line in each end. It's going to feed in, it's going to hit this, and it's going to stop. You do that on both sides, and that's actually all you do, and you don't need to take it apart to do this. And I'll show you later, but you basically just have to put the load. You're going to turn your spool to load. So you got a line on here. Load, bump, fixed, bump, load. But when you turn it to load, if you didn't take yours apart like I did, you should just be able to feed a line in on each side, get it stuck up in there, and then you just twist this thing clockwise and it will wind all of that line on both sides. Again, you have two lines. First manual I found said you just use one line, you feed it through, but that doesn't work with this model. So let's go ahead and put the thing together the way I think it's supposed to work. Now, this is as much of a guinea pig as it is a how-to video, so bear with me. So once it's in there, you got to go ahead and use this bolt to screw it in. It is pressurized by the spring, but it's not that difficult. I just managed it with one hand, so there you go. This stuff is all plastic in here. I wouldn't want to snap it. And I don't think it's that important to be super tight. So next, we're going to install this clip. So as you can see, there's these two tabs on the very outer edge. Those are going to go into those two tabs. Don't be confused by all the others. So tab on the outside again. We're looking at this little one, not the big one below it. Both sides, line them up. Should snap into place. Mine's a little stubborn because I've taken this thing apart too many times trying to mess around with it. So there we go, that's all together. And then we can put this on. So this outer spool, it looks symmetrical. It is not. See this tab right here? Doesn't exist on the other side. that feeds into that notch right there. So again, it can only go on two ways because of these two outer tabs, but it's important that you put this notch in the hole down there. Gotta squeeze the tabs to get them inside the housing and snap them into place. So there's that. Now I probably should have cut my line to be the same size before I started the video. I'm sorry folks, you just gotta bear with me for 1 second. We're back. So it turns counterclockwise if you're looking at it. When feeding these in, feed them in as straight as possible. They will go into the second piece of housing inside and then be directed towards the bump setting by default. So make sure you push them in straight and then push them until they stop. I found it to be about 3 inches or so. Once you do that, turn it counterclockwise. Leave it on a bump setting. Leave 5 inches of trimmer on each line end. And as we can see, this can now actuate. When you do that, and the thing is rotating, the line will spin out and give you fresh